Hi everybody! It's a race against time today. I've got 78% battery left on this. So, hi, how are you? My name's Kelly and I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and today is April 30th and it is 9:30 in the morning and let's see, it says it's 51 degrees out. And it's a nice sunny day in the neighborhood. And that's my dog coughing. Maisie, what you doing? Eating something. We won't question it. So, I'm Kelly, and I am on Ravelry, Plurk, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, pretty much everywhere online as Sheep Dreamery, including sheepdreamery.com. I sell hand-dyed yarn, and it's very pretty. And you can get to my shop by going to sheepdreamery.com, and there is a little tab up at the top that says shop, and that will take you to my Etsy store. I'll be on Etsy for another 6 months, because then that will be a year, and then I will be making my own shop. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about other stuff. Okay, so this weekend I went to Stringtopia, which was in Lebanon, Ohio, which is, well, it used to be just up the road from me. It's not anymore. Sometimes my dog finds bird nests in bushes, and it's all just part of the circle of life. She winds up eating the bird nests. So sometimes that's just her, because she's eating hay. Oh, by the way, today, actually it was supposed to be a different day, but everybody forgot. So today is the day that is assigned as the day to be the day where people appreciate podcasters. And I just want to basically thank everyone who's ever been a podcaster, especially involved with knitting, because last October I had no idea that there were knitting podcasts. I had no idea that there was such a huge community built around podcasting and knitting. Uh-oh. Ugh. Deny. Let's just deny that. Oh my god, go away. This is also my husband's workbook that he uses sometimes, but he's actually inside the house. And so you won't hear him yelling at the cat today. You may have heard him last week at the 10-minute mark yelling at the cat. Alright, I'm touching my hair because that's what I do. Don't touch your hair, Kelly, don't touch your hair. But it gets worse all the time. Alright, and see, that's like where my cowlick is. That's how you know my children are my children. All of my children have the same cowlick in the same spot. It's true. Even my half-Asian daughter, she parts her hair on that side. There's no other side to part it on. I wasn't allowed to have bangs for a very long time because my mom could not manage my hair. So anyway, I want to talk about Stringtopia, and I actually have a lot to talk about. So we'll see how far I get, because I have a lot to say. Last Friday, I got up and I looked at the classes that were offered for Friday afternoon at Stringtopia, and I was really torn between Abby Frankelmont's class, where she was showing off pre-Columbian textiles, and Carol Sikorsky, who was doing a class on working with self-striping yarn. And in the end, I chose Carol's class. And I'm glad I did, because she was very fun. She's a hoot. She she's real, if you know what I mean. Um, she wasn't afraid to not speak her voice and give her opinions. And it was a really small class, so I'm glad that I went because everybody had plenty of time to ask questions. Um, most of us kind of pretty much already knew what was going on. We were actually all kind of a little bit advanced for her class. Let me get a sip of water real quick. Um, if you see me looking up, it's because I'm looking up at the neighbors' windows to see if they're listening in on me. Because my neighbor's right next to me. The one neighbor, she's a nun. Well, she was a nun. And then she married a Sikh. But she still acts like a nun. Like she's always looking in our yard and critiquing it and telling us what's wrong. Like last year it was very important for us to know that there was a groundhog living underneath of our shed right there. We're like, okay, well, I'm sure the dog will take care of him. I'm not worried. So I'm always wondering what she's actually listening to. But also, like, she won't talk to me. She'll talk to my husband. And when she talks to my husband, it gets to him. Because he went to Catholic school. He's used to nuns telling him what to do and him not wanting to do it and feeling bad about doing it, but getting it done anyway just so that he doesn't have to hear them tell him to do stuff anymore. And for me, I'm an unbaptized heathen, so I mean, hey, that's great. You were a nun. You're not a nun anymore, but you don't hold any power over me. My grass is cut to the perfect length. We pick up our dog's crap, and she doesn't bark after midnight, so butt out, lady. But also love your neighbor. Oh my god, look at that. The wind went a-blowing. Okay, so, yes, everybody that was in my class, and there were only 3 other people in my self-striping yarn class, they were all from Ohio, so that was really cool. And everybody was really nice and friendly, so we got to sit around and talk, basically, after Carol went through. She had handouts for us to go through, and she had a PowerPoint presentation, and it was all lovely. It was all wonderful. And so I did learn some things, especially about when it comes to when I decide to start dyeing self-striping yarn, things to keep in mind. She helped me a lot with things that I'll need to think about and decide on that I really hadn't heard from anybody else. So that's why I'm not going to share it, is because she taught it to me in a class that I paid $85 for. So if you want her secrets, you should go pay $85 and take one of her classes too. Okay, so I got all of that. Oh, and then Carol is on Ravelry, and her name is Black Bunny. She's written tons of patterns for tons of publications, so you've probably seen stuff that she's done before and did not realize it. And I also wrote on the bottom of this, "Hi to Angela," because Angela was in my class and she was fun. She was a hoot. Okay, then there was Friday dinner, and we stayed at the Golden Lamb, which is a historic hotel in downtown Lebanon, Ohio, and some presidents have stayed there. Not all of them are my favorite presidents, but presidents have stayed there, or at least walked down a hallway and have had a room named after them. So it's kind of interesting in that way. One of the biggest duh moments for me was walking through the hotel hallways, and they had all sorts of, I call them grandma curio cabinets. They just had tons of curio cabinets that were filled with lamb items. I was like, whoa, check it out, all these lamb items. Duh, Kelly. It's the golden lamb. We're here for a wool retreat. Duh. Um, so, and I had not signed up for the Friday dinner. I was just going to be at the Friday bash. But at the last minute, I had gotten up on Friday morning and was like, I think I'll go ahead and go take this class. And then after my class was over, I saw my friend Laurel, who is also known on Ravelry as Old Bean. And so she was like, you should come to dinner. And I was like, well, I didn't pay for the dinner, and I'll just go across the street to the Village Parlor and get something terrible there because I like the Village Parlor. It's an old-fashioned ice cream diner type place. But she was like, no, you should come and sit with us. And I was like, okay. So paid for the dinner there and got to sit with some very interesting people. I met another person from Cincinnati, and she was so happy to find out that one of our local yarn stores has actually moved downtown. If you're from Cincinnati and you don't already know this, Fabergé, which at first used to be used to be on the border of Terrace Park and Indian Hill, and then it moved up to Montgomery on Montgomery Road near the Aglameses, and now it is down on Vine Street, downtown. It's Vine Street and 14th Street. And so the woman that was sitting across from me, her name was Diane or Diana. I didn't see her the rest of the time. I only saw her at the dinner. But she was really cool. And she was like, I can walk to that store. I'm so excited. And so she and I started talking about how people get afraid of walking around downtown Cincinnati. And I said, I grew up in between Baltimore and DC, so I always find it ridiculous when stuff closes early in downtown Cincinnati. She's like, yeah, I grew up in New York. I know what you mean. So, anyway, if you didn't already know, there's a store downtown now. So that's out of the way. Okay, so for Friday dinner, at the Golden Lamb, I ate lamb meatloaf. And I kind of forgot that I've been eating gyros for the past couple months, but actually our Greek place has been closed for like 2 weeks, and it said due to family illness. And now I'm getting very concerned because, well, first of all, we're not getting our gyros, and second of all, like usually when there's a family illness, these families will fly in other people in the family to help take care of the business while other stuff's getting handled. And they haven't done that yet. So we're getting nervous. Somebody had to die or something. Something terrible happened. So I hope they're okay, and I hope they come back soon because I love those stuffed grape leaves that they had. They also have these french fries that all they do is like just put oregano on them, but they do it in such a way that is like the bomb. It's awesome. Okay. Let's see. So Friday Fiber Bash was a good time. Yes, and I sat with Laurel, Old Bean, and Laurel is a pro at Stringtopia. She had been there last year, and so she had a good handle on what was going on. So I sat next to her most of the time, and she would give me the scoop on what was going to be going on and who people were. Oh my goodness, this keeps popping up. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die laughing. So she and I had a good spot. So, like, I'm here, and then Laurel's here, and then on the other side of Laurel is a woman known as, because it's her name, Sandy Weishart. So, and Sandy had also sat next to us during dinner, and across from me at the table during dinner was on Ravelry. Her name is Maud Witch. Her real name is Deborah Geary, and she has written some books called Modern Witch. I believe it's a trilogy. So that was, oops, sorry. So that was very cool. So Laura was giving me a scoop on what's going to be going on, and there was a contest. The contest on Friday night, there it goes, it's blowing up again. The contest on Friday night was to see who could spin the fastest in 2 minutes. So they had people on spindles do it first to see who could spin on a spindle the fastest in 2 minutes, how much yardage you could get. And then they had people with wheels do it. And then the 2 people who won from each side of that then competed against each other. 2 spindlers against each other. I'm not supposed to say spindler. 2 people using spindles went up against each other, and then 2 people using wheels went up against each other. And then those people competed, one spindle using person against a wheel spinning person. And I was sitting right behind the wheel spinning person. I don't know what her Rav name is, but her name's Carolyn, and she's really adorable. Or her name's Carrie, but I still don't know her Rav name. But she had like the cutest haircut. I was in love. And she was going so fast. I was like, damn girl, you are going. And she was very focused, very, very focused on her yarn, so I was happy for her. And yes, the wheel won. So, the wheel won, and how they measured was people would stand at a table at the very back of the room. So, somebody stood, the spinner held their bobbin, and then somebody else would pull the yarn. And for the spinner, it went out into the hallway, and then it went around the corner through the hallway. It was long. It was very long. It was fun. It was fun to watch that. Naturally, I did not compete because I'm a total noob. There's an airplane going by, so I'll just wait a moment. Okay. So spindle versus wheel. Yes, I was corrected with a quickness when I had mentioned that I was going to be taking Abby's spindling class. For those of you who are noobish, like I am, you don't say spindling. And the logic behind that is that when you're driving a car, you don't say you are carring, you say you are driving. When you're... Well, you know what? People who drive trucks say they're trucking. People who ride motorcycles say they're cycling. I should have brought that up. But anyway, apparently there is a cardinal rule where you spin on a spindle. You do not do spindling. You spin on a wheel, you can spin on a rock, you can spin on a beer bottle, but you do not call spinning on a spindle spindling. Now you know. So, oh, okay, just some snarky commentary. during the competition, there were people who were competing. And some of those people who were competing were not focused on their own work. They were busy looking around in a complete panic to see if other people were beating them. Well, yeah, honey, everybody's going to beat you as long as you're looking around and not paying attention to what you're doing. I assume she's never been a sports player or a competitor of any kind except trying to be the person who knows the most on Ravelry and forums. Also, it's really bizarre to introduce yourself to a stranger by saying, I'm a mod. If that's the first way that you introduce yourself to somebody, you didn't even like say, hi, I'm Kelly, I'm from right here in Cincinnati, it's nice to meet you. If you say, my name is Bulbasaur, and I can beat Pikachu, I'm just going to back away and assume that you've got a lot of issues to deal with. So, people watching during competition, keep your eyes on your own work. Underneath that, let your freak flag fly. Hey, knitters come in all kinds of different varieties. And spinners do too, and crocheters do too. And we definitely had an interesting mix of people going on there. Very interesting. I'm sure by the time I get to Maryland Sheep and Wool, I'm going to be completely wowed by all of the interesting people. It's going to be fabulous, I'm sure. I tried looking it up this morning. Okay, if any of you went to Stringtopia, if any of you are watching right now, and you know the brand of tea that they had there from the hot tea selection, whatever the Earl Grey was, tell me what it is. Because it was so good. So good. So good. I could drink like a ton of it right now, just thinking about it. Oh, it was magic. It was just, it was. There's a Louis C.K. joke where he's like, I hate people who go, because it looks like they're kissing a butthole. But sometimes something's so good, you got to. So anyway, moving on. The wonderful Sandy Wiseheart noticed that I was attempting to spin. I wasn't even going to spin when I went. I thought, okay, I'll take a spindle and I'll take some fiber, but I'm also going to take knitting with me because I don't want people who see me using the spindle to critique me. When you're a gifted and talented child who is brought up to be a perfectionist and you're trying something new, you're not always eager to attempt to do these things in front of other people who have been doing it for a very long time. So I was a little shy about doing it, but Laurel was like, girl, just do whatever. Laurel was having a great, wonderful time. A great, wonderful time. But then Laurel got up to go socialize, and so I sat there and I was working on my drafting. And so Sandy kind of leaned over and she said, if you're struggling, then you need to move your hands wider apart when you pull it. And it was like the heavens rained down knowledge at that very moment into my brain. Because I had just been doot, 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 and it wasn't going. It wasn't going at all. And it was making me, I don't know. Well, you've seen my previous work. Everything was blobby. Everything was crazy. But, oh god, I've still got that little gnome peak up on the top. But, by the end of Friday night, look what I did. I made yarn. And yes, it's still a little puffy here and there. And this actually wasn't a lot of yarn at all. A lot of fiber, I should say. And she also said that the combination that I had used is kind of not easy for a beginner spinner to use in the first place. But it was black and red and white, and I love black and red and white together. So that's the fiber content. Superfine merino, alpaca, black alpaca, CVM, milk protein, and Cormo. And it was 1.5 ounces. So I got 22 yards out of this. So a lot better than ever before. So I is proud. I is good. I is strong. What is that? I mean, I know it's from the help, but hey, I'm kind of a snob about books. So I like to stick to my Henry Janes and my Edith Wharton, my Jane Austen, my Bronte sisters. So, yeah, that book did nothing for me. The movie did nothing for me. I'm very aware of it because I think it's important to be aware of pop culture things from a social aspect, but I also thought it was kind of terrible. Anyway, okay, so Sandy Weishart, thank you so much for helping me down the correct path. You're a miracle worker. And she's in training to be an Episcopalian priest. So, hey, you guided me. You can guide anyone. So, we had a good time. And it was just fun talking to people and socializing. And one of the best parts of the night was when Laurel, I guess, got a tiny bit tipsy. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. And she was talking to me about her kids because that's what moms do when they're away from their kids and they're missing their kids because it's close to bedtime, and so they're thinking, oh, if I was at home, this is what would be going on right now, and things like that. So that was on her mind, and so she said, have you seen this video yet of my daughter? And I said, I don't know. And so she showed me a video of her daughter, and it's her daughter, and she's just making a really cute face where she's like raising her eyebrows, and it's really cute. And so Sandy had gotten up and went back to her hotel room to lay down for the rest of the night, and somebody else was sitting in Sandy's seat. And after I had a deep and loving appreciation for Laurel's video, she turned to the person on her other side and said, you want to see a video of my kid? And she didn't wait for an answer. She just put the phone in this chick's face. I was like, look at my daughter. She's so funny. She's so cute. And that chick looked absolutely terrified. And not a minute later, she had packed all of her crap up and left the room. Oh my god. We didn't think we were being loud. We didn't think we were being obnoxious. But for somebody to totally freak out because somebody showed them a video of a kid making a funny face, and it wasn't a long video, it was 18 seconds long. It took 18 seconds of a child making a face for this woman to completely pack up her crap and go. I love people. I love people. The absolute horror on her face was just incredible. So anyway, that was a good time for me. I was just like, okay. And yes, I did make a purchase. There was a store there, Morgane from Carolina Homespun. She apparently just travels around the U.S. in a big yarn RV and shows up at shows all the time. And she set up a store in one of the hotel rooms, and there were so many spindles and there was so much fluff, and I was so confused looking at all of it that I didn't buy anything on Friday. I just stared at a lot of it. And then I went home. I went home on Saturday, and I slept until 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon. And I went to sleep at like midnight that night. Like, I was just completely wiped out. It was that much fun and hilarity that, like, I was completely wiped out from having fun. I was like a 2-year-old after a birthday party. Oh, we're gonna ride in the car now? See you on Monday. So, that was a happy time. Let's see. Okay. Sunday, I went early to have a chance to see one of my other friends who was going to be there. And her name is also Kelly. But on Ravelry, she is known as One Dizzy Parrot. And she sells fiber, and she sells stitch markers, and she sells spindles, and her company's name is Lizard Toes. Lizard like Florida lizards. I had a chat on Instagram about Florida lizards the other day. Whew, because Sock Bunny had a picture of a lizard hanging out on her porch. Now, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale until I was 7, and I was used to lizards then. I was used to turtles. I was used to staying pretty far away from the canal, because reptiles and amphibians and things that want to kill you when you're a cute, adorable kid. Any kid that lives in Florida and makes it is a tough kid. Any kid that lives in Florida and doesn't get eaten by an alligator or molested by a pedophile or killed by their mother and then moves to Baltimore and just hangs out with all the kids there, you can say I'm kind of a tough kid. I've seen it all. But anyway, Sock Bunny had a picture on Instagram of a lizard on her porch, and it just all of a sudden brought back a memory of the last time I had been in Miami. I was there for New Year's, and it was going to be 1998, so 1997, I guess you would say. But I was staying in a condo, and I was up on like the 23rd floor, and I was using the bathroom, and when I was done, I turned around to flush the toilet, and sitting there just on top of the tank was a lizard. Now, when I grew up in Florida, I lived in a ranch house. You were always going to be seeing a Florida bug or something near the house. I had no idea, and it had been, well, 20 years basically since I had been in Florida. I really wasn't expecting to see a lizard in a bathroom in a condo, high rise, in the middle of winter. I was terrified. And I was screaming and trying to wake my friend up because lizards! So that happened. That happened. That's my lizard story. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's see. So anyway, I got to see Kelly, got to say hi, and it was very quick because when I got there, people were going and eating lunch, and I had not signed up for lunch because, well, basically lunch was $16, and I didn't want to pay $16 for a cold cut. So I ate at home and figured, but then I sat with other people while they were eating, and I did not get to have enough time with my friend Kelly. So I'm trying to convince her to come to Maryland Sheep and Wool this weekend so I can see her there and we can spend more birthday time together. Because every day is Kelly's birthday. It's an inside joke. And then I did decide that I was going to buy some fiber. And because Carol had been such a lovely teacher, I bought some roving from her. This is Falkland. It's Black Bunny fibers. I forget the name of this one, but it has pinks and peaches and raspberries and a little bit of black and also tiny bits of brown, which I thought was very nice. And then this one I didn't open up yet. It has more hot pink and can you see it through the bag? I don't know. Ugh. Somebody's sending messages to my husband. Go away. I don't care about the FCC. So I bought this because I thought it would be awesome to ply with my punk pony. So both of the fibers that I bought from Black Bunny Fibers was, and I'll read from this tag, it's just 100% Falkland wool. She's got Falkland with the 2Ks. This one is called Passionate Sin. I like it. And I think the name goes great with Punk Pony. Go away. Urgh. I hate when, if you've watched me before, you know how this goes down. I'm trying to do things here and hold on. I'm going to close this stupid window because I don't understand why it's up. Quit messages. No, I'm not here. Oof. It's someone annoying. That's someone annoying me. Okay, so put my fiber, and then it was time to go to my class. My class that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. My class with the one and only Abby Frankmont. And look at that. Look at how, like, thin that is. I done good. Pig done good. Pig done real good. I can floss my teeth. Because I was in the room and Abby is a friend of mine already. I had just never met her in person before. But because she was a friend of mine already, she knew that she could mess with me and use me as an example for the rest of the class for things, and that I wouldn't run crying out of the room. Um, and legend has it that last year at Rhinebeck, somebody ran crying out of the room during one of her classes. So, I don't know what happened. I just know. So, I was like prepared for anything, Give it to me. I'm ready. Absolutely ready. Just give me a hard time, whatever. And Deborah Gary, the author, was also in the class, even though she was an advanced spinner. She came to take the beginning class. And she stated during her introduction that the reason why she was taking this class was because she was going to kind of use her experience from that to develop some characters for her books. And I went, oh, cool. And then I completely forgot about it. So Abby also knew Deborah because she had been there the year before, so she knew that she could pick on Deborah for stuff as well. But one of the first things Abby did was come around the room, and she just had a big giant thing of roving, and she came to me first, and she said, all right, go ahead and pull some off. And she was holding it right here, so really all I could pull was this. I was like, I can't. You're gonna need to move your hand back some more. She's like, no, just keep going, just keep going. I had such a piddly tiny amount. It's like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Because a wonderful Canadian friend told me just the other night that you need to move your hands apart farther to be able to draft it. She said, Canadian. It's like, yes, Canadians. They're wise. And so then she took it to the next person, and she had moved her hand back, and that person just got a nice big strip of the roving. Went to the next person, they got a nice big strip. Gets to Deborah, real tiny strip. So it went around like that. So Abby used us as our examples of why things get messed up. So it was fun. I did not mind at all. I thought it was great. And she has a really interesting teaching style. It's not like you go in a class and you get a handout and then she just reads off of the handout. She wants everybody to think and come up with their own ideas. And if people aren't coming up with the right ideas, eventually she starts to suggest different things, and then people catch on. So it was really fun doing that. And she said that in the past she had taught a spinning class where she did actually teach people not how to spin from a spindle first, but how to spin from a rock or from a beer bottle. She wanted to prove that basically you can spin from anything. You just have to have the fundamentals, just like football. Know the fundamentals. Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose. Fundamentals. As soon as you have the fundamentals, you can do it on anything. So basically, she was like, you don't have to have a hook on a spindle. You don't have to do a half hitch. All you have to do is draft it enough and get the. And she taught us all about rolling on our thighs so that you didn't have to have a hook and that you didn't have to have a notch when you spin. And so here's what happened. I was wearing pants. I was wearing a pair of jeans, and because my weight goes up and down an awful lot, sometimes I have pants that are just really incredibly loose on me, and then I have other pants that are just like Muffin Top City. So sometimes I'll just put on a larger pair of pants and make compromises. And the jeans that I was wearing really didn't have like a lot of friction or grip. So when I was rubbing up and down my leg on my thigh to get my yarn going, it wasn't working very well. But I noticed other people in the room had on black pants, and Abby had on black pants, and it was working perfectly for her. Of course, she's been spinning since she was 6 years old, 7 years old. But I got the bright idea that maybe I just needed to have black pants and I would be able to get my thigh roll better. So I stood up and I took off my pants in class. The good news is I had on black yoga pants underneath. But hey, it worked. It worked like a charm. Also, at that point, I had completely forgotten that Deborah Gary was writing her book in her head as this was going on. So, Abby did say that it was the first time in any class she's taught that someone has taken off their pants. So, go me. At least I didn't run crying from the room. Oh, people. You never know what you're going to get with me. So, okay, so I bought my black bunny fibers, and I did not buy any spindles because we got 2 spindles during our beginning spindle class. Is that the right word? No. Beginning spindle spinning. That's how I wrote it. Okay. Yes. Abby's a great teacher. Love her style. Story about rocks and beer bottles. Deborah Gary was in class. The Modern Witch. Oh my gosh. 47 minutes and I'm close to getting done. Okay. It's Tuesday. It's 10 after 10 in the morning. My shop is going to be closed technically tomorrow, May 1st, until May 8th. Now, if you decide today or in the middle of the night or sometime before 3 o'clock EST tomorrow afternoon that you want something, go ahead and buy it, and I'll make sure that it gets in the mail on Thursday. But by 3 o'clock tomorrow, I don't want to do anything business-wise because I will be in my packing panic mode. But actually, it's going very well. We just got every single bit of my laundry washed. So basically now I just have to fold, pack, decide what to pack, what not to pack. It's a whole thing. Okay, so I will be going to Maryland Sheep and Wool this weekend. There is a podcasters meeting on Monday, not Monday, on Saturday at 1 p.m. And it is going to be in the Lower Corral vendor area, which is actually just before the sheepdog exhibit, if you're looking on the map. If you're not looking on the map, ask people where the sheepdogs are, and they'll go that way. And so you just start walking that way, and then look over to your right, and eventually you should see the Lower Corral area. And that's where people will be. I will be there. Apparently, what are those girls' names? Laura and Leslie are going to be there. Kim C is going to be there. Miss Creole. There's going to be other people there. Other people that I like, that I enjoy. There's also going to be crazy people there. We'll see what happens. And because that meeting's at 1 o'clock, I don't know if my mom will be with me for that or if she'll have already left. Also, at 2 o'clock on Saturday, at the Columbia Sip and Knit area, which is close to the beginning of the fairgrounds, there is going to be a stitch marker exchange. So if you'd like to get together with people and exchange stitch markers, you can do that at 2 o'clock on Saturday. So, what else? What else? I've got 2 more to go. Okay. My one complaint that I had written down that I was going to talk about has now been cured. I was going to buy a bigger bag for my travels, but my husband has given me a bag to use so that I will be taking the MacBook Air with me. And there's this lovely, let's see if you can read the button. No, because I'm going the wrong direction. You are the CSS to my HTML. Because nerds. And also, because nerds. Guess what else is stuck on here? So, yeah. I hope that's not a conversation starter for people on the plane. Because I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to say it's my husband's. And then I'm just going to say, no hablo inglés. Lo siento. Let's see. Okay. I mailed out yesterday some goodies that are going to be given out at Guts, Grits, and Pink Lipstick, which is hosted by the lovely CJ Kopak, and that's going to be in Michigan. Everybody that went to Knitopia in Michigan has now received their skeins of yarn that I dyed for them, and I hope they all enjoy them. And if any of you are watching and you wanted the cowl, just send me a PM and I will send you a pattern for that. And speaking of another Louis C.K. joke, man, what I write here. Goodbye, Nerd Wars. Goodbye, Nerd Wars. Goodbye, Nerd Wars. And if you know what joke I'm talking about, then you know. If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you because I don't want you to be offended. But because I am one of the chosen people, I can talk about it. But anyway, goodbye, Nerd Wars. You made me insane. You put too much pressure on me. And I thought it was just going to be neat and inspirational and creative, and instead it stuck me into these terrible ruts of depression where I couldn't think for myself. And it was an interesting experience, and I'm glad it's over. I think if you feel like you don't have any knitting mojo, then go ahead and commit 3 months of your time to Nerd Wars. I did complete every single assignment because that's what I do. When I join a team, I'm in it for the long haul. I wasn't going to give up, even though by April I totally hated it. But I did complete every assignment. We'll see if I get all the points for every assignment. I did get the Nebula award for the first round and the second round, so we'll see if I get it for the third round. It was nice to make friends with new people on Team That's What She Said. I had a lot of fun meeting people. I like to meet people, so that was fun getting to know people for that. Okay, but seriously, I am looking forward to the time I have now, because first of all, I have so many craftsy classes. that I have bought that I haven't even really used yet that I want to get going on. And I felt like I was suddenly constricted into this timetable and I couldn't get out of it. So I gotta be me. I gotta be free. Um, I gotta be me. Okay, I did say I will podcast in Maryland because I will be taking this. And I will also be taking my iPad and my iPhone. And so you'll see me. You'll see me around. I may have some special guests, like maybe my mom or my dad. We'll see. We'll see. Sometimes my dad gets shy about things. And that's just because of the nature of jobs that he has, where he really can't be identified a whole lot for reasons. If you live in the DC area, you probably understand why I say for reasons. Okay, today's random active pattern day. I already randomed and acted and patterned and Tuesdayed. So I hope you treated somebody or treated yourself or someone treated you. And last thing I want to say is Sadie is making bats for me, and there's my little heart. Thank you, Sadie. I appreciate it. I know that Navajo churro is just severely demented, and I'm so glad that you have the tools that you can help me make it into something useful. So, God bless you, Sadie. Whew. All right, 38% battery, 57 minutes, and I'm gonna go. And 2 days from now, I'm gonna be in Maryland, and I hope to see some of you guys there. Bye.